Hi dear artist friends, I hope you're well, and we are here today to talk about your elevator speech as an artist, which is basically a sales pitch. And we don't see ourselves as salespeople much, but we should. It's a sales pitch. An elevator speech is a sales pitch. It's about you offering something and making the other person want to have it. So it's not really that different from being a salesperson who has something to offer, and that is important because when I say I have something to offer, it means that it brings value to the other person. So within this short amount of time of an elevator, going up to, let's say, not the 20th floor, but the 4th floor maybe, to make the person that you're talking to want to own your art, or at least gain enough interest to want to know more about it. Now first, let me get into the words part of it, even though, in my opinion, it's not at all the most important thing. And that's maybe what differs my elevator speech coaching from other people's. Everybody always talks about what the words should be. So let's get that out of the way and then let's talk about everything else around it. Words part of it. Keep it short and simple. KISS. Keep it short and simple. That's really important because you don't want to be caught mid-sentence on that 3rd floor when the person just says, okay, bye, and they're glad to be away from you. So let's say by the time you've reached the 1st floor, you should have talked about who you are, what you do. 2nd floor, what's special about what you do. And by the 3rd floor, what's the use for the customer? Make them want it. They do not need all your struggles. I know we artists often really like to talk about, and right now I'm really trying that, but no. Be the most enthusiastic about what you do as you can. And yes, let's think about this as a mini performance. And that's why I can talk about it really well, because I am a performer. And being a performer does not mean being fake, okay? It means finding the truth in what you perform for yourself, and thereby being authentic and also being believable. Your dialogue partner is immediately gonna know if you're performing in the sense of pretending. Big difference. Performing does not mean pretending. I know we often say fake it till you make it. That might be true for confidence, but self-confidence is often just a lack of trust in the other, and not so much a lack of trust in your own abilities. Because deep down, if you're an artist, you do love what you do. And you know why you do what you do, and why you paint what you paint, and how you paint. So you're not faking that. You're faking maybe that you always feel great about it. But for a sales pitch, that's important. So who you are, what you do is very quick. Don't get complicated about that. Next thing for an artist has to be what your art looks like. Give visual words, give descriptions, give colors, give shapes, is it bold, is it detailed, is it realistic, is it abstract, is it surreal, is it expressionist? How large are your paintings? Are they very small? Are they really large? Give a visual, give a lot of visuals immediately so they can kind of imagine and give it in a very positive way, an enthusiastic way. Also include themes, subjects. You paint horses? Do you paint nature? Do you paint architecture? Do you paint abstract? All of that is very, very important. So up to here, it's easy, right? You know who you are, you know what you paint, you know what your art looks like. So don't make it more complicated than it has to be. Next, really important, is to include what moves you. why this is. Why do I paint figures like that? What am I interested in? I'm interested in the human psyche, in the human soul, in our errings and wanderings as human beings, our trials and errors. That's what moves me. I love people, and sometimes they're clumsy and make me smile, and that's also why there is a certain humor in my paintings, as well as a bit of a hauntedness that some people pick up more than others. So that's what my art is about, being human, and I want to celebrate that. So what moves you, and also what you want for the one who looks at your painting to feel, think, and or do. For example, with my art, I love it when people can take a moment of introspection and feel themselves. Like they look at a painting and say, yeah, I know that feeling. How do I feel today? Because I think that's what we need in this world. So that's for my art. What do you want? Do you want people to marvel at nature? Is it that you want people to be wowed by your craft? Is your art giving an illusion? Is your art looking like something else from far away? And then when people go close, they see that it's made up of, I don't know, 1,000 dots or something that they didn't expect. Is that what makes your art special and what you want to happen in the person who sees your art? What do you want your art to bring to a space that it hangs in? Brighten it, bring color, bring depth, bring boldness, bring courage. Find your words and figure it out. If you have not already written your artist statement, that is all the stuff that needs to be in there too, basically. So go to your artist statement and see how you can put that in spoken words easily. Basically, that's what an elevator speech is. That's all that has to be in it. And you want, in the best case, not to make it a monologue. You want to make it a dialogue. So you don't want to just talk at the person, and them going, oh, where is my fourth floor coming up? Oh my God, let me just get out of here. No, you want to have a dialogue with the person. You want to, as soon as possible, open a question. Do you have art at home? Do you like art? Are you into art? Do you go to museums? You can also, of course, start the conversation like that, depending on where this speech happens. Are you on your way to an exhibition? Are you at an exhibition? Ask, are you an artist as well? And then, of course, let them answer. And don't just go right in with what you wanted to say. You want to get people engaged and interacting with you, not a monologue. Make it a dialogue as soon as you can. Elevator speeches don't only happen in elevators. They happen maybe at an exhibition, at somebody else's. That's also where it needs to be short, because it's kind of uncool to be at an exhibition of somebody else and then only talk about your own art, you know. It can be waiting in line at the supermarket. It can be in a subway. You meet somebody, you run into somebody and you're like, oh, hi, you know, what do you do? I haven't seen you in a while. Oh yeah, actually I paint now. It can literally be absolutely anywhere. Make it short, make it exciting, make the other person go, I'm really curious now to see that art. I want to see it. Have your business cards ready. Have the name of your website ready. Or mention that you write a monthly newsletter, and if you want to be included, you can sign up here on my homepage. Something like that. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you're pushy just because you're enthusiastic. Generally, being enthusiastic is a great thing, and it's what other people want to be too. And so they want to have a piece of your cake. So use any chance you can get to practice this. Be ready for questions. Maybe even uncomfortable questions. Like if you do abstract art and they're going to say, yeah, I'm really not so much into abstract art. I always feel that any kid could do that. How do you answer that? Or questions about your prices. Be careful about mentioning prices. Maybe mention that it depends on what size the painting is, or that it moves from the 3 digits to the 4 digits, depending. I would be a little bit vague, just so they are not turned off right away. Also important for the words part of it is find an ending. A wonderful ending is a question. But generally, don't just keep talking because you're afraid to lose their interest. Nobody likes that. Also, don't talk too fast. There is a balance between enthusiasm and having a lot to say and just overwhelming the other person with words going at them, and they don't even have time to think about what you're saying. Sometimes it's really good to give short breaks for the person to digest what you've just said, and maybe give room for a question they might have. So that goes into what's important aside from the actual words, right? What makes people remember it, obviously, are not just the words, though. It's how you perform it. That also includes your looks. And that's somewhere that I'm still working on. I don't know, it feels like I'm putting on an act if I always wear that red hat. But that's how people remember you. Oh, she was the one with that red hat, or with those big glasses, or with the colorful shirt, or you know, whatever. Stand out. The pink hair would be great, you know. I can't find something yet. I want to, but I haven't found it. Like something that makes me unique. I have such a regular look, but it can't be forced either. But that's something you might want to think about visually, how people remember you. Aside from the words, you want to really look them in the eyes. You want to make contact with somebody. I know that's sometimes hard, especially when we're, you know, so focused on what we're saying, on, oh my God, this is an elevator chance. Oh my God. Yeah, not so great. So look them in the eyes, feel your counterpart. Smiling is not a bad idea. I know that sounds weird, but it's really a good idea. Not everybody does it nowadays. That brings me a little bit into how you talk. I'm not saying you have to change who you are, but you might want to become a little more aware of how you come across and how you talk. We often belittle ourselves and make it not as important as it is. We use a lot of filler words like I just, a little, somehow, maybe, kind of, which is all belittling our art. Yeah, I just sort of, I don't know. Oh, I don't know is another one. I don't know. I just kind of start, you know, with a color. I've often been using red because that's kind of, I don't know why actually. It's just, yeah, I just feel the color red, and yeah, and then I just sort of go from there. There was so much, a little bit, sort of, kind of, and it's not important. I was looking down, I was shaking my head, I was just, yeah, and I'm like, do I want to see that art? I don't know, it might be nice, but the person talking about it doesn't even seem that enthusiastic about it. You know, recently I've had this thing with red, because red, it stands for so much, you know. For some people it's like pure life, and I've been feeling that it's so warm, it's like hot, but there are all kinds of different reds, and so I start with one red and then it usually really takes me off. And I just love the effect it has also on people, because it brings so much warmth and so much energy, and it kind of wakes up people that see it. Okay, so I said it kind of there, but already I hope I was more convincing. It was a little difficult because I'm talking about something that I'm not actually doing. I'm just pretending I'm like an abstract artist that paints with red. But I hope you saw the difference anyway. Looking people in the eye goes along with, if you shake hands, do it with conviction. Practice longer and shorter versions, maybe. Practicing is difficult because you don't have your counterpart, and I would not really want you to memorize it by heart. It does not usually come across genuine if you memorize words. So try to speak freely, and it's not that hard because you're talking about your own art, but you do want to practice it. What I just did about why I'm so enthusiastic about painting humans, and how my heart goes out to all our errings and our yearning for more in life, and how we're sometimes trapped and need to find freedom and interacting with other people, and how clumsy we sometimes are, but so lovable while we are at it. So anyway, this is what I'm enthusiastic about, and this is not something I have to really learn, but I have to learn how to put it in words, in good words. As I've said, you want to make the other one want to know more about it. You want to exchange business cards, that will be wonderful if you did that. A really great salesperson is one that sells you something that you never know you needed in the first place. You were not looking for an original painting, yet you go home with an original painting, basically. So make them yearn for it. Make them feel that that's exactly what they're missing in their life. Looking in the eyes, be enthusiastic, find positive words. Don't put all these filler words. Don't rattle words, rattle without a single break. Give breaks for breathing, for thinking, and be upbeat about it. The tone of voice is really important. I can be totally enthusiastic about my art because I really love my art. But if I'm not convincingly bringing that across, because, well, I actually don't like humans, so I don't even like to, actually I don't even want to do this elevator speech, and I don't want to have to sell it. I don't want to have to, obviously you're not like that, because otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video, because you do want to sell your art and there's no shame in that. So bring it across as that. Don't don't open with, hey, can I sell my art to you? Okay, that's stupid. What's also included in that is your posture. So if you're going to be talking like that, maybe also tilting your head, looking away, fencing off. This is really fencing off, slumping if you're seated, and not really facing the person, and maybe being restless. It's not so great. Have a confident posture. Maybe move your hands while you're describing your art. It's really great to be active. It invites people in. Can you see how that invites you in, as opposed to, yeah, you know, and I just kind of, I can even cover my face a little bit. It's just not, and you immediately feel it's not important what I'm saying. It seems obvious now, but people do it a lot. We practiced elevator speeches in the course that I did, and a lot of artists had a really hard time with this. Again, fake it till you make it. Posture is an easy way to start. Just force yourself not to do this one. Maybe not even put your hands in your pockets. It's still better than this, but having active hands is the best. Find if that somehow works for you. You might also want to practice this on camera. You will possibly be surprised at some habits. When I edit my videos, I start every other sentence with so. I cut out so many so's. If you do a lot of that kind of shows me that you don't trust breaks. You don't want the other person to say anything. Instead of that, I do. So when I paint, it's like I get into this really deep concentration mode that lets me feel rather than think. So those breaks made it more interesting. And the other person could have interrupted, but probably wouldn't have, because I was mid-sentence anyway. But if I do, so when I paint, it's like, I just started getting into this, I don't know, it's kind of like a zone. Oof. Try to avoid that, and you can only really catch yourself doing that on video. So practice that. If you feel like it, we could do a kind of a boot camp. You can write to me and we practice. I can make a video of it and upload it on YouTube if you want. If you don't want that, that's fine too. Contact me anyway if you want to practice that elevator speech. I think it would be wonderful to have a group of people, even maybe practicing elevator speeches, shorter, longer versions, be each other's counterparts, asking uncomfortable questions maybe, or being somebody that's actually not into the kind of art that you make. How do you deal with that? There are loads of opportunities in real life to practice this elevator speech. It also can be practiced on friends, of course, friends and family. Your solo shows that you're organizing. In the last video, talked about how important it is that you organize shows and that you have shows where you show your art. Of course, that's a wonderful place to start talking about your art to people. See what questions arise. You really want to be confident when talking about your own art. I hope this helped. Let me know. Also, something I don't say very much, I really appreciate it if you hit that like button, if you subscribe. It helps the visibility of this channel so much. I would really appreciate that. And I also do make a point in reading and answering comments. So if there's anything I could have done better that was not included and so forth, please let me know and I will try to include it in the next video. So go out and either paint or practice that elevator speech. Write your artist statement if you have not already done so, and let me know how I can help you any more, what other subjects would be interesting, whether you want to have a little practice elevator speech with me and we look at how we can improve it. Any of that is possible. Have a great day. Ciao.